We acknowledge that we are speaking from the traditional country of the Kaurna people of the Adelaide Plains and pay our respect to elders past and present. We recognise and respect their cultural heritage, beliefs and relationship with the land. We acknowledge that they are of continuing importance to the Kaurna people living today.
Kathy has worked for the Australian Tax Office for 24 years. She has several law subjects under her belt and a Certificate 3 in Financial Services. But she wants to tell you she is not qualified to give tax advice. The talk is based on the last 3 years she has spent running an indie game studio, Joy Ever After Studios. We also have with us 5 brave actors, thank you, who are going to help Kathy illustrate indie finances. The answers they give do not reflect their own life situations. I will now hand over to our interviewer, interrogator, who will conduct Kathy's talk.
Welcome everyone. Tonight I want to explore the subterranean world of indie finances with me and all of us. Let's start with our first interviewee. Can you tell me who you represent today?
Hi interrogator. My name's Solomon N. Trader, but please just call me Sol.
It's nice to meet you, Sol. Are you an independent game developer?
I'm not sure. Maybe?
Maybe.
Ideally, I'll get a job in the games industry. But until I have enough experience to set up my own company.
And what are you doing to meet that goal?
Well, I just finished an art degree last year, and they helped me set up a portfolio on ArtStation. I'm on LinkedIn. I check for the Looking for Game Developers Facebook page regularly, and I'm in the Adelaide Game Developers Discord. I've been doing a bit of art for mates on the side, but I haven't really set up a business or anything.
So you want to be involved in game dev. Are you qualified? And what have you been working on in the industry?
I guess.
If you don't mind me asking, where do you get your funds?
Well, I had a restaurant job, but it closed down, so I'm on Centrelink right now. I had a look at the NICE requirements, though, and I thought I might give that a try.
NICE being?
NICE being the new Enterprise Incentive Scheme. You have to do a business course, and they help you make a business plan. You get a NICE allowance for 9 months, and you don't have to declare business income.
That sounds pretty good to me. Anything else you are looking at doing?
Well, I set up a creator page on Patreon to see if people would pay me while I do art. I stream once a week, and I get $15 a week from that, so pretty good.
Pretty good. Anything else?
Put a couple of assets in the Epic Game Store as well.
Oh wow, a pretty diverse portfolio then. You mentioned you'd be doing a bit of art as well for mates. Did you get paid for that as well?
Well, most of what I've done is for game jams, I have been paid a few times. So
do you have to tell Centrelink about that?
Well, I mean, I do, but it's money, but they'll drop me back for that week. But not if it's under $50 though.
Hi, I'm from the ATO.
Oh no, it's ATO!
You need to decide whether you're in business or not. We have a set of questions to help you.
What difference does that make?
If you're only doing it as a hobby, you're not looking for customers. You don't have a business name. You won't have to put anything about your hobby in your income tax return. Of course, you won't be able to claim back any GST you pay on hobby expenses.
I am thinking of getting a business name and setting up a website.
Hi, I'm from ASIC.
Hey, SIC, it's ASIC.
So, if you're going to trade under a different name, you need to register it. You have to be in business to register it.
Oh, well, in that case, I would just call it Sol Trader Out.
Sorry, Sol. That's not your own name. You still need to register it.
How much is that going to cost?
That's $37 a year.
Oh, that's not so bad. I have a friend who's paying $99 a year.
When your renewal is due, you'll get a letter from different companies offering to do the renewal for you. They look official, but they're not related to ASIC.
Cool. I'm going to get a business name then.
And an ABN. Registration of a business name comes with an Australian business number.
Hi, I'm from the ATO.
Oh no, the ATO!
You show your ABN when you're buying goods for business purposes. You'll still be charged GST when you buy. You have to keep records and it's a good idea to have a separate business bank account. You now have to declare your income in your income tax return, but you only pay tax on your profit because you deduct your expenses from that income.
So I get GST credits?
No, we note you haven't applied for GST registration. If you're not registered for GST, you don't charge GST and you're not entitled to GST input credits.
So really, I've got my ABN, but I can hold off on GST registration for now? I guess it would be good timing to register for GST before I buy my next big computer.
I did not say that.
Hi, AB Partnership.
Hi, Interrogator. I'm Partner A.
And I'm Partner B.
And together, we're the AB Partnership.
Can you tell us a bit about your game dev business?
We both have full-time jobs.
Yes, we do work on the side for studios, basically when they call us up and ask us.
So, we have an ABN, but we haven't been charging GST.
This is our first year, so we're not really sure how our tax is going to work.
Hi, I'm from the ATO.
Oh no, not the ATO.
You haven't employed people or charged GST, so you don't need to lodge activity statements. You just need to lodge a partnership income return to show how much profit or loss was made during the year. This information gets fed into your individual income tax returns. If you made a loss, you generally won't be able to claim it as a deduction against your other incomes, like jobs. You will have to carry it forward to claim against business incomes in future years.
We're considering registering for GST.
Why do you want to register for GST? You're making well under the $75,000 a year, aren't you? That means you have a choice.
We've made a cute little game, and we've decided to publish it.
The game stores need proof that we're registered for GST.
Well, you'll have to start lodging quarterly BASs once you're registered. As you can see, the GST is paid directly by the partnership, not by the individuals. You'll also have to charge GST on all your invoices, not just the game.
And they want us to have a DUNS number as well.
Hi, I'm from ASIC.
ASIC. It's ASIC.
ASIC.
The DUNS system is a private US checking system. It has nothing to do with ASIC or the ATO. I think you'll find an application for DUNS number is generally handled through the stores and can take days or even weeks.
Well, you seem to have a clear business plan. Have you ever thought about forming a company, Partners A and B?
But why?
In case anything goes wrong.
We trust each other. What can go wrong?
Hi, I'm from the ATO.
Oh no, not the ATO.
Say the March BAS was $1,000 and the partnership agreement is a 50-50 split. Partner A paid her $500, but Partner B didn't pay his $500.
Hey, I paid off the car.
The ATO can pursue Partner A for the remaining $500.
What? Why? I paid my share. I have bank statements to prove it.
Yeah, leave her alone. I'll enter a payment arrangement to pay it.
Thanks, babe.
The GST is paid directly from the partnership to the ATO. Partners are jointly and severally liable. The ATO can garnish the amount from Partner A's bank account.
The ATO wouldn't take money directly out of my bank account.
They can and they will.
So how could forming a company help?
A company has limited liability. The ATO can only take money from the company account for company tax debts, not from directors' accounts unless they've done something criminal.
I like being in partnership. We don't need limited liability.
Hi, I'm from ASIC. As well as the tax example given by the ATO, another example of limited liability might be where your app had a bug which allowed ransomware attack. Your US client lost hundreds of thousands of dollars and days of production. If the US client sued, they could be awarded a sum so high the partners could lose their house. But if they sued the company, the amount the company has to pay is limited to the amount the company has.
That makes sense, but we want to keep our trade name.
You can transfer the trade name to another legal entity.
Well, this seems like a great time to turn to someone who's already running a company. Last but not least, on our panel, can you tell us your name and your business, please?
Hi, my name is Emmanuel, and I'm the owner of 7D Games Studio Pty Ltd.
Hi, I'm from ASIC.
It's ASIC.
When you say owner, do you mean you are the only shareholder of the company?
Yes.
Who are the directors?
I am.
Who is the company secretary?
My wife is.
Who is the public officer?
My wife acts as the public officer. Yeah.
Who is the financial officer?
My wife as well.
Thank you. Of course, that's all on public record. So, you're aware of your duties as a corporate officeholder?
Yes.
I'll just run through them for you. You show your Australian business number or Australian company number on all documents. You keep all company records, you stay solvent, and most importantly, you lodge your annual reports with ASIC.
Yes, I do all that.
Excellent.
Thanks for that, ASIC. I thought I was the interrogator here. So, 7D Games, what does your company do?
Well, we've been publishing small mobile games and apps, and we also contract out our services to larger studios. I hire game devs to help me out on some of the games. But now I want to pitch a larger game to publishers and venture capitalists, and they will only fund companies.
So, you've got an ABN and you're registered for GST?
Yes, that's right, and I've also got an ACN number.
Great, now that we know who everybody is, let's find out how much it costs to run an indie games business. Let's start with you, Sol. Can you tell us what you spent your money on last year?
What money? I'm just kidding. I don't have any funds to spare, so I use free assets whenever possible.
How much would you spend on software to make your game assets?
Software tools. There are a lot of alternatives to paid software. For example, I use GIMP instead of Photoshop for pictures, Inkscape instead of Adobe Illustrator for vector drawings, Blender for 3D work instead of Audacity for mixing sound. Game engines specifically, I need to be able to use both Unity and Unreal to suit customers' needs. Under the limit in sales there, so they're free. Storage and sharing, however, I use Google Drive and Dropbox, and I make sure I stay under the limits.
So, zero in fact, spent on software. What about assets made by other people?
When I need music, there's a heap of sites that provide free music. When I need sound effects, I just go to sound libraries like Sound Bible and Freesound. I check out the Creative Commons licenses, and I find a CC0 license I know I can use, and I do what I want with that sound. When I need art or scripts, I first check on the Unity Asset Store. There's some quite good free assets out there. Art sites host free art, and GitHub has many free programs.
Still no money spent as yet. And what about office expenses?
My parents bought me a computer recently. That is a true story. Does that count?
Hi, I'm from the ATO.
Hey, this is the ATO.
You can't claim income tax expenses you haven't incurred. If your father had given you the money to buy the computer yourself, it would be deductible. Additionally, you can't claim GST inputs because you're not registered for GST.
I'm not sure I want to ruin the relationship for tax deduction, mate. I don't think I've got that much tax to pay this year anyway, so...
Anyone would think there was more to life than tax.
Other office expenses then, such as rent, electricity, maybe even office furniture like a computer chair?
Nah, man, it's all paid for me.
What about, like, accounting software? A lot of the accounting software seems to start at $15 a month.
So far, I have kept track of all my incomings and outgoings in Google Sheets, which is free.
Hi, I'm from ASIC. You're welcome to keep your records using any software program, but if you're serious about being in business, you are soon going to need to use an accounting program.
Thank you. I will bear that in mind.
Mentioned the website before.
Yes. When I get my ABN, I'll buy a .com.au domain name. It cost me a couple $100. Now I'm paying for hosting with the same company.
I've heard horror stories of people checking the availability of a domain name, and when they went back to buy it, it had doubled in value.
Yes, I have also heard that. I guess I'll pick it up straight away then.
That's probably for the best, and the $2 hosts are unlikely to let you transfer your domain name.
Alright, so I'll look around first.
And what do you have in mind for website hosting?
I only need a cheap website, less than 6 pages, no sale buttons. I can just use a shared web host and keep the price down to about $5 a month.
So far you're up to $70 per year. Do you pay insurance?
I do not.
Well, I know one expense you are going to incur. Registering a business name costs $37 a year.
Okay.
Being able to avoid any other accounting fees?
So far, I've been doing my own income tax on MyGov, but now I'm gonna have an ABN, so I guess I'll need to help lodge a business income tax return.
One last thing I can think of is bank fees.
Yeah, I don't pay bank fees.
Okay, well, I don't think I know of anyone else who can run a business for $607 a year, but you're doing it, so well done, so. So, to move on to A and B partners, do you have a similar scale of costs?
No.
We spend more because we have so little time to do work on our business.
Well, let's go through the same list, shall we? We'll start with software tools.
As you can see, we use Maya, Substance Painter, and the Adobe Suite to create our art assets, as well as a couple of other tools.
So your total cost of creative software was over $2,500. Do you have to pay for any game engine software development kits as well?
We don't work on console games, so we were spared the cost of SDKs, thankfully.
Although, we've been looking at Nintendo. Someone said that cost $2,500 to develop on.
And storage and sharing software?
There is so much out there.
Yeah, we use 2 different platforms because our clients have different preferences.
Now I gather you don't have to pay any wages.
No.
But we paid for some contract work, though.
Yeah, custom music and sound effects. We mostly make our own assets.
This is really interesting. Can you tell me about your office expenses? Let's start with office software.
Well, working with other businesses, we find we really need to use the Microsoft Office suite.
And if you get the business plan, it comes with Microsoft Teams.
I think our most expensive office software is the accounting package Xero.
Yeah, we weren't really sure. We looked at Intuit, QuickBooks, and Reckon Online, and MYOB.
We wanted to be ready for if we ever employ anyone. You have to lodge pays online these days to satisfy the single-touch payroll requirements.
Also, SuperStream requirements are really onerous if you don't send your employees super to the clearinghouses electronically.
What are your other office expenses on top of all that?
Well, we have a home office where we work after hours. Its footprint is 10% of our home, and we only use it for business purposes.
Yeah.
So 10% of our rent and electricity is used in making games for our business.
And we had to buy a multi-function center printer, which has a scanner for signing and sending legal documents.
This is really starting to add up. If my math is correct, we are currently over $8,000. We're now up to marketing expenses.
I'd say our most important expense is our website.
Yeah, we actually took out 6 domain names: anb.com, anb.com.au, anb.games, then the same but with AB instead of ANB.
We went with a reputable hosting company, and we paid extra to keep domain owner details private.
The most difficult decision we had to make was whether to attend an interstate conference.
In the end, we decided it would be too much money and time, as well as the uncertainty of last-minute COVID restrictions. Neither of us can afford to lose 14 days in quarantine away from our jobs and our cats.
But we did show a game at a local conference.
I guess another marketing cost is how much you pay to actually put your game up on the store.
And then translating the store descriptions for different countries. We did 9 languages.
And business cards, we did our own.
But the logo we got made for us.
And the game trailer.
We saved money by making subtitles for ourselves.
We have a Vimeo Plus subscription to manage gameplay videos.
And then there's the marketing to other studios. We have an ArtStation portfolio.
And I had to get a police check because I went into schools to demonstrate a game.
So even keeping the costs down where you can, you have still racked up over $13,000 in expenses. You've mentioned some software subscriptions. Are there any other subscriptions you pay for?
I keep up my professional membership.
And of course, we're members of IGEA. They provide us with legal templates and a lot of support.
Can you tell us how much you pay for in insurance?
Well, we do have contents insurance.
And of course, we also took out business insurance.
What about legal costs?
Like Sol here, we registered our business name.
We also don't have a formal partnership agreement.
We're getting really close to the end. You tell me about your accounting fees.
We're lodging our first partnership return this year, and of course our individual income tax returns.
Hi, I'm from the ATO.
No, not the ATO.
I don't see any accounting costs for lodging business activity statements.
We do our own business activity statements on the ATO online services for businesses using our MyGov ID.
Thank you.
And the very last cost I'll ask you about are banking fees.
That's actually really hard to quantify when you're doing business internationally.
Yeah, you can't just compare the transfer fees the different institutions charge. You have to look at the exchange rate they're using.
The PayPal exchange rate is very poor.
Even the traditional banks don't have very good exchange rates.
At the moment, we're using Wise. Some people use Swipe as it's more convenient.
So you would have spent just under 90 grand running your business this year.
Yes.
Okay, now we have a director with us who can tell us about the cost of running a game development company. 7D Games. I won't go into much detail as I did with partners A and B. What we're looking for here is how company expenses are different from smaller and larger businesses. For you, we'll start with the cost of making the games, starting with the software tools.
Okay, thank you. I'll try to keep it short. We use basically the same software that partner A and B do. The only reason our cost is higher is that we have more people using the software.
That makes sense. So your game engines are going to cost more, aren't they?
Oh yes, at the moment I'm funding 4 Unity seats, and luckily I'm still under the limit with Unreal Engine.
And software for storage and sharing?
We have to pay a lot more storage, obviously, because there are 6 people who we need to share work with on a regular basis, and we have a business plan for that with a storage company.
And other costs of making games?
We make almost all of our own game assets except for sound. We find it more efficient to source out our sound effects from libraries and than buy each one individually.
Now that we've made the games, let's talk about office expenses.
Yes, again, our software expenses are higher because there are more of us. We work full-time, some of us work remotely, and 2 of us find that we're more productive if we work in the same office.
We are really ripping through this. Can you tell me about your marketing costs?
Well, we had the same concerns as partner A and B about travelling interstate, but we really had to do it. We limited the number of people who would normally help to exhibit the product, and fortunately we didn't get trapped in quarantine.
And store fees?
Yes, the store fees are the same whether you are an individual or a company. We put out 10 games, and that's why our figure is higher.
Before I ask about your general marketing costs, can I ask you about whether you count food and drinks towards the cost?
Well, if the company pays for it, then it's a company expense, company cost.
Hi, I'm from the ATO.
Oh no, not the ATO.
Entertainment costs are not deductible for income tax, and GST credits can't be claimed for them.
Yes, I was going on to explain that they have to go in the company's accounts, but they are not claimed anywhere.
Oh, sorry.
So, on to general marketing costs.
Apart from using the business version of some of the subscriptions, our costs are nearly identical to partners A and B, except of course multiplied by the number of games.
Are your subscriptions the same too?
Well, we pay for professional memberships, and I am a member of the Australian Institute for Company Directors. Our turnover is under $1 million, so we pay the same GEA membership fee.
And now we come to the big discriminator.
Yes, salary and wages. As a company, I pay our employee wages. They are casuals, but the number adds up fast.
Well, after that, everything seems small. The next expense on the list is insurance.
Well, I guess the main difference is that as an employer, I have to pay return to work SA insurance. It used to be called workers' comp. Also, I pay cyber insurance so I can get help if I get a ransomware attack.
Now there's an expense that only companies can claim. Have you undertaken any research and development activities?
Yeah, research and development is risk money. We make innovative, creative new games, but so far we haven't done any blue sky research.
Well, in that case, I'm pleased to say I only have 3 more questions for you. Can you quantify your legal costs for me?
Yeah, sure. I had to pay fees to ASIC to set up a company. Then I had to pay for copies so I could prove I was the company director to Steam.
I suppose with all this legal work, your accounting fees are quite high as well.
Yes, they are. The company paid for my individual tax return as well, but not, of course, for my employees. They'll be lodging their salary wages returns on MyGov for free.
Unless they have a business on the side.
Yes, of course. That's how I started.
So, final cost, bank fees.
Yes, we have 2 bank accounts and international transaction fees.
Our farm panel just shared with us their business entities, the work they do, and the business expenses as well. But I'd rather much talk about income. Now we're going to hear about funding, invoicing, and business records. So, we'll start with you as always. Have you received any funding for your business?
Well, as I previously explained, my dad bought me a computer. I'm also thinking of asking family and friends to help me make a game. So, and if I can get a campaign together, I might run a Kickstarter. But I need a trailer for that and, game assets and stuff.
Thanks for that, Sol. And Partners AMB, have you received any business funding?
We always keep an eye out for any available funding opportunities. Unfortunately, though, there are none that fit us at the moment.
There are many angel investors, publishers, and venture capitalists who are looking to fund a good game for a share of the profits.
We're going to do the pitching webinars with Jason De La Rocca to show us how to present our game to funding bodies.
Well, that sounds great, and good luck to you both. And the lucky last as usual, 70 games. Have you received any business funding yourself?
We've put a project together now that will meet the $250,000 minimum requirements for the South Australian government. That will give us $25,000 rebate. Partners A and B, you might like to look at the government loan. If you are looking to raise funds, you can get a higher amount if you have matching funds.
Thanks.
We now turn from business funding to getting money from selling your own products and services. So, can you tell us about how you invoice your clients?
I cannot, because I don't really know what to do.
Hi, I'm from the ATO.
Oh no, not the ATO.
If you are selling for under $75, you don't need to bill your client, but since they have to note details about the transaction, it would be polite to, and could save confusion down the track if there are further sales. If you are selling for over $75, you need to provide an invoice.
Do I have to have a ABN to stop people withholding the 47% every time they pay me?
No, you can include a note saying you're not in business, or a formal statement by a supplier.
If we buy something from someone without an ABN and they don't give us a statement identifying themselves and saying they're not in business, how does that work?
You need to withhold 47% from their payment and pay it to the ATO in the PAYG part of your BAS.
Well, okay, I am going to have an ABN.
Your clients will need to see your ABN so they don't withhold that 47% withholding tax. Just make sure you do not label your invoices as tax invoices because you won't be registered for GST.
Hey, we've registered for GST. Is there anything we should know about invoicing?
You're registered for GST, so if any sale is more than $75, you have to issue invoices showing 7 things. It must be called tax invoice, your name, your ABN, date of issue, description identifying sold items, including quantity and price, GST amount, or just say includes GST. And finally, how much is subject to GST. Here it is implied as 100% taxable. If the invoice is for more than $1,000, you must show the buyer's name or ABN. You have to show the GST for each line item, You can't assume it's 100% GST taxable. You have to state it.
Can I confirm what actually happens after people charge GST on an invoice?
You pay the amount of GST you collected, say $80, less any GST you paid on inputs, say GST on art you commissioned, in this case $10. You'll be lodging business activity statements, BASs, every quarter. That means every 3 months. The financial year starts in July, so the first quarter is July, August, September, and so on.
I've been told I have yet another report to make for tax purposes.
I think you mean the TPAR, the Taxable Payments Annual Report. They are increasing the number of industries that you have to report payments to, and programming has been caught.
All this is well and good for Australian sales where we're invoicing people, but we sell games through game stores and they do the invoicing for us.
Yeah, so what do we do about GST then?
Okay, this is where we have to understand where our industry fits for GST. Some goods and services are input taxed. They are just financial. You can't charge GST on financial services, and you can't claim GST credits either. That's why you never see GST charged on banking fees. There are a limited number of goods which are GST free: raw foods, education, medicine, water and electricity. They're different because although the suppliers don't charge GST for them, they are still allowed to claim GST credits for all their business expenses. We are lucky because exports are GST free. Games sold in Australia are subject to GST. So, game developers can claim GST credits for all their business expenses because the games are either exported and GST free or sold in Australia where GST will be paid. When it comes to charging GST, most stores do it for you. They charge Australian GST on Australian sales, New Zealand GST on New Zealand sales, VAT on English sales, and sales tax on US sales. They pay the taxes to the different countries. This comes out of the amount you are selling for. They also take out their commission. There are 2 things that go wrong, however. As you see in this example, the store has withheld a further 30% for the foreign country. This is because no ITIN was supplied to the game store, which is the US Individual Tax Identification Number. This withholding tax could be claimed back in the business income tax return because Australia has a double tax agreement with the US, but they need an ITIN to marry it up with. The other thing that can go wrong is that not all stores pay the Australian GST for you. Check out this excellent webinar made by IGEA. It looks as though we need to add up all our Android sales and pay 1/11 of them in our BASs.
Yes, well, there's something else I've noticed about the game stores. They take a long time to pay. It's always a certain number of days after the end of the month.
Well, that's just really unfortunate. Well, let's get on to the last of our interviews, yes. We are going to talk about business records. So, what type of paperwork do you have to keep?
I keep emails setting out what the client wants, especially the number of revisions that we agreed on before extra payment can be made. I also have all my bank statements online. I'm not how long do I have to keep them for?
I'm from the ATO.
No, not the ATO.
You need to keep your business records for 5 years. If it was a cash transaction, make a note of the date, the amount, the type of transaction, and whether there was GST.
Thank you.
And partners A and B, do you have anything to add?
We have NDAs, which are non-disclosure agreements we have signed. They are also called one-way confidentiality agreements.
And 70 games. Do you have anything else to add as well?
Probably my most important paperwork is any joint venture memoranda, consultancy agreements and developer agreements, and of course my chain of title documents proving I own the intellectual property, that is the IP of everything I sell. I myself have a director loan agreement, and of course all my staff have employment agreements.
Yes, can you tell me more about that, the employment paperwork?
Well, when you employ someone, you have to give them 4 legal forms: the Fair Work Information Statement, the new Casual Employment Information Statement, the superannuation choice form, and the TFN tax file number declaration form. If you can't get the TFN declaration signed, you have to I have to withhold 47% tax, PAYG tax on the wages.
Thank you very much, everyone. I've learned a lot tonight. I know a lot more about sole traders, partners and companies. I know how they try to get their fundings and where they spend their money, as well as the rules for issuing invoices, paying taxes, and keeping important records. We are very grateful to our actors Murray Curtis, Anna Bales, Benjamin Sims, Emmanuel Millville, and Adam Dowley.
Adam Dowley arranged the original talk, and Michael Gackle did the sound recording on the night.
Special thanks to our animators, Alex Verabetto and Kosta and Alex, for their awesome work.
And that was Arthur Archie being our interrogator. Interviewer. And I'm Kathy Smart, I was your ATO officer, signing off from Indie Finances.
Thank you, everyone. I am now going to sit down and relax my pixel legs.